Today we're discussing Expend4bles 4, a very overdue movie in the Expend4bles franchise, the fourth of the franchise. The last movie came out in 2014, and once again it stars Sylvester Stallone and Jason Statham as part of this Expend4bles squad. In the film, the Expend4bles reunite taking on a bad guy who is after a dangerous weapon. And if that didn't sound like a generic plot to you, I'm not sure how much more cliche I could make it sound, because Expend4bles 4 has nothing new to offer to the action franchise. This is as bare to the bones as you could possibly get for an action movie. Everything you see in this movie has been done before, and in most cases better. The sad thing is, I was actually slightly anticipated for this movie because the trailer looked good. It made it seem like it was going to be maybe a generic movie, but at the same time, a fun, explosive action movie with a lot of our favorite 80s action stars coming back for another round of the Expend4bles. And I knew this one was also R-rated. That was the first R rating this franchise has received since the second movie. The third one was the only one rated PG-13, so that gave me more reasons to be excited for this one. However, it's been 9 years since the last Expend4bles movie. I guarantee you, half of the people who saw the third Expend4bles movie had no idea a fourth one was even in the works. And now that it's out, why is anybody shocked that this movie bombed at the box office? It doesn't help that clearly there was zero effort put into this movie. I think the only reason it was made is because it gave Sylvester Stallone and Jason Statham another excuse to be in an Expend4bles movie. The plot is as typical as it gets. You have a bad guy, just like we had in the last few movies, trying to steal a dangerous weapon that could jeopardize the world's safety and cause World War III. Meanwhile, the Expend4bles step in. It just gets out of hand. There's a lot of action in the second half of the movie, all taking place on this boat. And, well, the villain has absolutely no background or development whatsoever. You learn nothing about him. He's just there to propel the plot along. And then you have Jason Statham with the one-liners, which I guess is cool because I've been loving Jason Statham in movies recently with The Meg 2 and now this. Other than that, yeah, there is nothing here worth talking about. It is one of the laziest written screenplays I've ever seen on the big screen. I am astonished this movie made it to theaters. The special effects, oh, don't even get me started on those. How did this movie cost $100 million to make? That was the budget of Expend4bles 4, and yet the special effects look like they came straight out of a Dreamcast game. I am blown away by how bad the rendering is of these special effects. You would think the worst special effects would be in the first movie because it came out in 2010, but no, 13 years later, the fourth movie somehow manages to have the worst special effects with, I wouldn't be surprised, the highest budget of the franchise. It's also disappointing that Expend4bles 4 has a lackluster cast. You got Jason Statham, okay, that's cool. You got Dolph Lundgren and Randy Couture back in this movie, great, that's awesome. And then Megan Fox, who we haven't really seen since the Transformers movie. She's been on a very long hiatus for whatever reason. You do have Sylvester Stallone in this movie, but don't expect to see him in the movie for too long, and I'm not going to say why, but he's not in the movie that much, so that disappointed me. But like looking at the rest of the cast in Expend4bles 4, it is lackluster in comparison to the first, second, and third movies. There's barely any other big names in this film other than like 50 Cent. Not to mention Expend4bles 4, especially during the finale, is anticlimactic. You get to this finale, which takes place much longer than it should have. When you get there originally, you think it might be the second large set piece in the movie, but no, it's literally the second and the last set piece of the film, and it just goes on for 40 minutes too long. And you think maybe there will be some redeemable action and there could possibly be a cool twist added in there. But no, there's nothing to salvage here. It is complete crap. Don't even waste your time seeing this movie because there's nothing good to offer here other than Jason Statham. I'm flabbergasted too why they waited 9 years just to make a pile of trash. Why did they make this movie if they weren't going to go all out? It's the fourth Expendables movie. At least give us some cool action stars with some great set pieces, a lot of explosions. Go all out. Why not? And they didn't. They couldn't even do that. I'm not expecting the movie to have groundbreaking dialogue or this cinematic masterpiece with the cinematography and whatever else. It's so bad. For no reason. You could have done the same thing you did in the third movie. That would have been fine. But no, they just had to make it so much worse. I'm astonished that this movie is even worse than the first one, which is a bad movie. The dialogue is atrocious. There isn't a single ounce of effort put into writing the script or creating the special effects. I have no idea what they were thinking when making this film. It's so disappointing because the second movie in this franchise perfected the formula. You have some old guys kicking ass. It's a lot of fun. The dialogue, while bad, is still fun. You're sitting in the theaters, eating popcorn, laughing, having a great time. That was the second movie. The first and third were hit or miss in some situations, but the fourth movie has nothing redeemable about it. This is one of the worst movies I have ever seen, and after all that, I am giving Expend4bles a 3 out of 10. It'll be tough to top this one as my worst movie of 2023. Anything is possible. There seem to be a couple of candidates coming up in the next few months before the end of the year, but oh my goodness, was this movie bad. It's one of those theatrical experiences that's so bad to the point where you think, why wasn't this movie just straight to VOD? That's the quality of film we received here from Expend4bles. Anyway, for those of you who saw this movie, even though none of you did, let me know down below in the comment section what your thoughts are of Expend4bles and what's your favorite movie of this franchise. Do you like the first, second, third, or fourth? Let me know down below in the comment section. And of course, as always, if you are new to my channel, click the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.